He's jumping out of a plane right now. Slowly, he's gonna bust through the roof. Oh, there he is. Give him another round of applause, guys.
Yeah, this is the long-term effect of jumping out of an airplane without a parachute. Let me get on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't hope you guys don't have anywhere to go because we're just going to have fun tonight. I want to make sure that we get to all your questions. I know you're here for Mr. Kiel. I have a lot of my own questions. There's so much to talk about, so don't worry. We're get comfortable. We're going to have fun tonight. So I would love for you to just start out very simply talking about how you got cast as Jaws in The Spy Who Loved Me.
How I went from The Spy Who Loved Me to Moonraker?
No, how you just got cast as Jaws in the first place.
Oh, in the first place. Well, I did a TV series called The Barbary Coast with William Shatner, Doug McClure. And it only ran for 13 episodes. But the BBC was kind of famous for buying up short-lived TV series from America. And I played over there, and the director's continuity lady saw me in this show every week and thought I'd be terrific for Jaws and suggested to Cubby Broccoli that he interviewed me when he came to America again. Thanks for the Barbary Coast.
Yeah. You were the only villain to really ever appear twice because you were so beloved. Jaws originally was supposed to meet his fate. Yeah, he was supposed to meet his fate with that shark, kind of poetically, and die by another set of Jaws.
The story behind that, James, is a true story. The English are very, very clever, very good at making movies, and part of the reason is that they have production staff meetings every week, and they bring the department heads in and say, do you have any ideas how to make it more fun, to make it better, to make it cheaper, to make it more economical? And the stunt coordinator, Bob Simmons, said, Cubby, have you thought about letting Jaws live? And he said, what do you mean? All the villains always die. And he said, but wouldn't it have been nice to have been able to bring Oddjob back, for example? And Cubby said, oh, I don't know. He said, Bob, he gets thrown into a tank with a shark. What do you suggest? He said, Bob said he kills the shark. And Cubby, I don't know. Anyway, Bob Simmons told me that he told Cubby, why don't you shoot it both ways? Shoot an alternate ending. And then that way you have a choice. And when they saw how things were going in the movie, how the audience was reacting to Jaws, they decided to let Jaws live and pop up out of the ocean. And I remember seeing that in front of a blue-collar audience at MGM Studios. It was an audience without writers, directors, or producers, all just regular people that worked in the prop department or in the office and their families. And when Jaws popped out of the water, people screamed and applauded and yelled and oh my God, this is fantastic.
And then you had your famous turn in Moonraker, where you kind of turned out to be hero in the end, and you got your own Bond girl, Dolly, and you were supposed to actually return for yours only and marry Dolly, right? And unfortunately, that just didn't happen.
Well, actually, I don't know about returning for your eyes only, but a little interesting story. Dolly, when I read the script, Bob Simmons, my friend, got me a script. I was out of the country making two movies, Force 10 from Navarone and La Humanoid, an Italian Star Wars. And I arrived at the hotel and got a script from Bob. And Jaws' girlfriend was supposed to be like a 6 foot tall, which would have been fine.
Yeah.
And I don't have anything against 6 foot tall girls. My wife's 5'1", but you know, they say opposites attract, right? And anyway, when I got to the office, the studio, they said, "Boy, do we have a surprise for you. We have a woman to play your girlfriend that's 7'8".
She was taller than you.
Yeah, I can't imagine a woman. So I'm sorry. But, it's tough enough to be a guy, 7'2", you know, not exactly cute, and a woman 7'8". I can only imagine she would need to have power steering. I said, guys, that just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And the production manager said, well, you signed a contract, you know, you have to do what we tell you. And as it happened, I was out of the country for a long, long time before meeting up in Paris. And I said, you know, I haven't signed the contract yet. And then they go, oh my God. And they said, well, what did you expect, a Bond girl? I said, yeah, that'd be nice. They said, well, what do you have in mind? I said, how about a little short gal? How short? I said, well, at least 5 feet. Oh my goodness, they said, you think people would believe that? And I said, well, my wife's here with me, and we already have 2 children and 1 on the way. It does work. So I said, my wife's almost 5'1", and so they were a little bit miffed at me until they actually saw the dailies in the projection room, and the editors had put in the Romeo and Juliet music, and the lighting, people had the light come off of my shiny teeth when I smile at her, and you know, it was very charming.
Yeah.
And you'll see in the movie. And Cubby Broccoli, the producer, was with a journalist. And as they were walking out, he said loud enough to make sure I could hear it. He said, you know, Richard and I had kind of a disagreement over that scene you just saw. He said, loud enough for me to hear it. And I must say, Richard was absolutely right.
Yeah.
So, you watch it, you let me know if a 7'8" woman would have been better.
No, I think that's what's so endearing about your relationship with Dolly and just your character in Moonraker is you in Spy Who Loved Me were this villain that just everyone fell in love with, and then you got to kind of have this turn and be a good guy. And Jaws really, like, I don't know if you guys read the Moonraker novelization, but he's really a totally different guy. He has a whole backstory. He's like a Polish guy, and he's a former basketball player, and he has the jaws because he was beaten in something called the bread riots, whatever those are. And I think they really adapted your character because people responded to you so much.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, that was, it turned out to be a really wonderful opportunity for my wife and I. We made movies in Taiwan, 2 of them, one in Hong Kong, the biggest box office movie of all time in Hong Kong, and Forrest Sam from Navarone and Yugoslavia, and you know, we got to go to a lot of places, see a lot of things.
Yeah. Did you ever, you know, Jaws is, of course, he has his one famous line, but he doesn't speak, but in the books he was mute, and they changed that.
He has 4 or 5 words he speaks at the end of Moonraker, where he toasts with champagne to Dolly.
Yeah.
He said, well, here's to us.
Yeah.
Kind of Reagan-esque.
Did you kind of make up your own backstory for the character? Did you go by that backstory of the former basketball player?
No. I just tried to make the character a little human, have some interesting personality traits, such as persistence, frustration, and all the things that we do. Yeah, I'm like all of you people. I worry about the same things you do. You know, taxes, inflation, bumping my head on the golden arches.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you know, John, I think that one of the things that everybody loves about Moonraker so much is it really nails the humorous side of James Bond, and
Well,
it's
Roger Moore's strong suit was humor.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
His ad-lib lines that he made up, like in The Spy Who Loved Me preceding this movie, when Barbara Bach is trying to back up and slam me up against the wall. And, you know, in real life, she's grinding the gears because you have to double clutch the English Ford van. And she didn't know that. And there was and Roger's outside on the running board giving her a place to look through the window. And he says, "You want me to drive?" You know, things like when in Moonraker, my favorite line in this movie is when I'm chasing them on a cable car. And they drop away to the ground and roll around and get away. And Lois Charles, Dr. Goodhead says, "Who's that?" And James Bond, Roger says, his name is Jaws. She said, "You know him?" And he says, "Not socially." He kills people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it was an ad-lib line, and it was so funny.
Yeah, he had that great comedic timing, and which leads me. I have to ask you a bit of a personal question. Who is your favorite Bond?
Well, you know,
We won't tell Roger Moore if it's not him.
that was a question that was asked of me at the world premiere of The Spy Who Loved Me. And Roger hadn't got there yet. Robert Bach hadn't got there yet. Louis Gilbert, the director, hadn't got there yet. And the only people that were there were Cubby Broccoli, the producer, and they'd already asked him questions a million times. So here I was, like the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
And they went after me like they do the president, you know, of the United States. Adversary question. Mr. Kiel, tell me, have you seen all the James Bond movies? And I said, "I believe I have." They said, "Who do you think makes the best James Bond?" Well, you know, I grew up with Sean Connery, like a lot of you people. You know, and he was pretty good at it. Roger was a super nice guy who really made my character work. He played to my character, let it be fun, wasn't jealous. He's the kind of guy, the best way to describe Roger Moore is that his heart is bigger than his ego. And he didn't care whether I was stealing scenes, as long as it was fun and entertaining for the audience.
Yeah.
And so here I am, I'm sort of damned if I do and damned if I don't, right? So I got a little message, and I said, "Well, can I go for George Lazenby?"
Thank you for Lazenby, man.
All the press laughed because they knew
Yeah.
that I was putting him on.
Yeah. Well, what about? I mean,
Although I thought George's On Her Majesty's Secret Service was a good film.
I really think it's a really tough question because I think they all bring something unique to the
I
character.
think you're absolutely right. Each one brought a different kind of a Bond. It's like the new guy. He's totally different.
Daniel Craig, yeah, absolutely.
But he's very effective.
Yeah, I love T-Dalts too. Gotta love Timothy Dalton. What? Well, do you make a point? T-Dalts, yeah, T-Dalts. Do you make a point? You guys still call them T-Dalts?
Well, you know, I think a lot of it has to do with what Bond you grew up with.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Do you make a point to keep up with Bond and see all the latest films?
Well, I'm going to be going over to England for the second time this year. I was there in May, be there again this month. And we'll be having dinner. They're going to see a play with Roger Moore's right-hand man, Gareth Owen. 2 years ago, we had dinner at the Ivy in London with Sir Roger, his wife Christina, and my wife, and Maud Adams, and Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
And we're good buddies, Roger.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen like have you seen Skyfall and
Oh, I love Skyfall.
Okay.
To me, I love the villain in Skyfall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting guy.
And Casino Royale. Yeah, absolutely.
And the villain, he saw his first James Bond movie. Is the one you'll see tonight.
Oh, wow, I
He
didn't
saw
know
it
that.
with his dad
I didn't know that.
when he was a young boy. And it's his favorite Bond, and he says on a TV show in London, not because of James Bond, but because of Jaws.
Oh,
I love Jaws.
what a compliment. Yeah.
That's cool.
What is, what's your other favorite,
And if you saw, excuse me,
No, yeah.
No Country for Old Men, he was really scary.
oh yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing actor. What's your other favorite Bond villain?
Well, Red Grant, Robert Shaw. I think Goldfinger's character, the way it was written, very, very, very humorous
Yeah.
and funny and effective. I was disappointed to find out that all of his lines were dubbed.
Really?
Gert Frobe, yeah, he couldn't speak English.
Wow. Well, I'd like, we're talking about speaking. What was it like?
It was a good character.
What was it like wearing the teeth? I read that you could only really wear them for like 35 seconds. They were so uncomfortable.
Yeah, a minute or so at a time.
Yeah.
They weren't painful.
Yeah.
They were like a boxer's mouthpiece. They had like a rubber inset to protect your teeth.
Yeah.
They just kind of fit over your upper and lower teeth. But they went up in the roof of your mouth with chrome steel.
Oh.
And it was really gaggy.
Yeah.
And all of you could do to not get sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was like swallowing a bumper.
So that's why Jaws really didn't have any lines.
That's why I was so serious. Even when I was being funny, I was like really serious.
That's awesome.